we are about to really hit the main events of golf season for 2025 and get things rolling. So, of course, we are going to be bringing back every week our man Smylie Kaufman. You can check out the Smylie Show right here on SportsGrid. Back from Hawaii. He was out there doing those tournaments. Smylie, great to see you, my man. How are you?
What's up, Mike? I hear you got some winners already at the beginning of the calendar year. Good for you, man.
Yes. Good start to the year so far, Smylie. As yesterday, Sepp Straka wins the Amex out there at PGA West. I was going to ask you about him because I feel like I know he's not at that level yet with the top, the big dogs in the game, the biggest names that we hear. But after winning yesterday, he's now won each of the last 3 years. He's got 3 wins on the PGA Tour. He's been in the mix, some top 20s, top 10s at majors. I feel like he's one of the most underrated, undervalued guys that's out there on the tour.
Well, I think when you look at just major championships and trying to find guys who have not won a major that's under the radar, he would be on a list of about 5 guys, I would say, for me. Sepp, really over the last 10 years too, Mike, there's been a major winner that's never won before. So it could be a guy like Sepp Straka that gets it done this year. But heading into the year, it all looks like, how many was Scottie going to win? How many is Xander going to win? And so far this year, Scottie Scheffler hurts his hand at Christmas dinner. And then Xander Schauffele now announced today not playing next week at the Farmers, which is where he's from in San Diego. But it's also being rumored and announced that the Riviera event's being moved to San Diego. But Xander's got off to a slow start this year. So without, Scottie and Xander to start out the year, kind of getting the PGA Tour season rolling, we've it's been an awkward start to say the least.
It has been an awkward start, and really, I feel like sometimes everybody's kind of got their own marker, Smylie. Some people probably say Pebble, some probably say Waste the week of the Super Bowl. Some might even say this week with Torrey Pines, where I think the more average viewer or watcher or better at golf starts to get more involved. We're obviously there every week. You look at Torrey this week, and this is different this week, guys. They go Wednesday to Saturday, not the traditional Thursday to Sunday with what the coverage that they're going to have. Playing these early tournaments, whether it was you playing or the guys playing now, how weird is it and different when you have to play these events where you're playing 3 courses like last week, PGA West, 2 courses this week, 2 courses at Pebble? What does that do for you prep-wise, getting ready? What is that like?
Well, it's when experience really matters. The guys that have played these events year after year, there's value in that, and especially at the American Express where you play 3 courses like you just talked about. But playing 3 golf courses, preparing for that in Palm Springs, and then driving up the road to San Diego, and then you got to learn 2 more golf courses. So for the rookies, it's already a very difficult start to the year. You're trying to get your feet wet, and you're learning all of these golf courses. So with that being said, it's a good point. But for me as a player, when I was on the tour, I always felt like their year really started in San Diego. It just felt like, the crowds there were always incredible. It's a really, you can have U.S. Opens out there like we've seen some of the more famous golf tournaments. And you typically have a really good finish at Torrey Pines. It's almost pretty much guaranteed. You turn it on Sunday, and something cool is going to happen on that 18th hole. So it's gonna be a fun week, but it's not as strong of a field as we typically would see. Seen a lot of top players pulling out, mainly because they don't want to play Torrey Pines 2 out of 3 weeks, which is what it would be.
Yeah, you were just mentioning it. Xander, Colin Morikawa, a few other guys have all backed out for this week. But we do have some names here, Smylie. Ludwig's going to play. You have Matsuyama.
That's right.
I mean, Sanjay plays every week, so it's hard to say Sanjay. You can never not find Sanjay at a tournament. Finau's playing. Jason Day off of playing really well last week. So still some good names. Who are you looking at for the Farmers this week out at Torrey?
Well, I got a bone to pick with Sung J M. He was my pick last week at the Amex. I mean, he had finished top 25 in that event every single year. He made so many birdies when I was on the coverage watching him at the first, in Kapalua. And I'm just thinking, man, he's rested. He's going to go out, have a great week, and just lays an egg on me and just misses the cuts. But who I have my eye on? That's a great question. Ludwig's a great start. This is a golf course. You want guys that can hit it long, but carry it a long way, that are strong enough to get it out of the thick rough. Harris English is always a guy that you got to look at this week. I know he's a guy that you don't look at maybe undervalued a lot of weeks, but this week in particular, he's always played well here. I start at the driver and work your way back. Tony Finau is another player. If he could putt well, which he did at Kapalua, like him. There's some under the radar guys like Jake Knapp, who played well there last year. Hadn't really gotten it quite going since the West Coast last year, but he loves this golf course. He's a player that could play well. And really under the radar is a guy named Trey Mullinax. Hits it as far as anybody, and has had some success on this golf course coming off of surgery this past year.
He's one of my favorite first-round leader guys, Smylie. We always love guys like Mullinax. They start fast and sometimes, unfortunately, fade away in the weekend, but we like those guys for first round. You mentioned Scheffler before, and he's always the most talked about guy. Any concern? He's going to miss a lot of these early tournaments. I know it's just a cut on his hand, but he's not playing golf. He had such an amazing year last year. You think that it'll take him a little time, whether it's Pebble, whether it's Waste, when he finally comes back to kind of get in the groove before the Players?
I think so. Definitely it'll take a minute, right? Because, you can't replace reps that you don't have. I know how well he has played, Mike, and I think we don't question a guy that he came off of the Tour Championship, went straight to the President's Cup, however many weeks later that was, and looked like he hadn't missed a beat. But with any type of injury like this, you always have a little bit of question marks on kind of how he's going to come out. Personally, for me, he's never been a guy that's putted incredibly well on Poana. So for him to miss some of the stretch doesn't really worry me, because it keeps his confidence high for when he does get over to the East Coast and he plays on Bermuda, overseeded Bermuda, and putts really well on it.